Okay, so we've done some videos on filters and we've done some videos on skimmers, but how about one that does both? NEWA, the NEWA Cobra internal filter. Now this one here is for aquariums up to 175 litres. However, I would say 100 litres, maybe 150 is your max. Okay, now this has, not only does it have a directional flow, it also has a skimmer here and an aeration port. It also says that it has 3-stage filtration. This is biomedia and this is sponge, so let's get it out of the box and have a good look. Okay, so what do we get in the box? Well, we get a piece of tube, and that's for the Venturi, the obligatory instruction manual, the main body, which has 2 suckers already here, very small, I must admit. It looks like a 30 pores per inch sponge. It has media, at the moment it's got carbon in it. Another sponge, which is, I believe, about 45 pores per inch. The main unit, some details on it. That's okay. It comes with this, which goes up and down in the water as a surface skimmer. And this is where that goes in, okay? So the first thing we want to do is probably put that in there. That goes on top. Oh, I see. That goes that way round, like that. And then obviously this is going to go on here. Now, is there a way of getting this wrong? Not really, because obviously the suckers. This is interesting. So it's orientated on your tank. So that's the side glass like that. Okay, and then the water comes out here. So it goes in through here, up, down, and through like that. Okay, so in. I would have probably put that as a coarse sponge and that as a finer cut sponge, but hey. But the good thing about this is this. This goes up and down, so you can move it literally up and down, which is good. And obviously get around like that. But you can also move the whole unit. So if you wanted to, you could have it like that on the tank, obviously face that way. You could actually have it like that. So you can have it upright. So for shallow tanks, this would be perfect. Maybe a turtle tank even. Oh, and you can actually orientate it the other way around. How cool is that? Okay, and the other thing is, when it's set up, you have this piece, okay? Now this piece, let me show you, goes on here like this. Like that. So when that's sitting in the water, let me set it down for a minute. So that's sitting in the water levels here. This can go up and down with the water level. And that will put us, well, it will skim the water quite well. All right, I'm going to flash up some of the details for it now, so bear with me. Okay, things I've noticed. It's quite a tough plastic, so it should take a little bit of hitting. This, I think, is kind of pointless at the moment. That's kind of pointless, so I would probably put a big sponge in here and fill this with a media. These are sealed, don't come apart. I can see, you could probably crack that open there and there and then put some media in it, but you know, this is cool, that's good. I mean, this is a very, very cheap filter. The other thing is, I noticed, is it was quite whiny. Now I'll put some video up in a minute of it getting wet. So let's get it in the tank, get it wet, and I'll show you what I mean. One last note, on the actual pump unit, this changes the flow rate, okay? It didn't make a big difference, to be honest. It made a little bit, and you can actually shut it completely off. Yeah, but all it does is it vents itself back into the filter, so I don't really see a point in that. But let's get it wet. Okay, so that's it sitting in the tank. Now, a lot of air come out of this, so I would say submerge it for a few minutes and give it a good sort of soaking of water. You can see the surface skimmer there. I don't know if it's actually moving up and down with the surface, so we're going to turn it on And at the moment I've got it in its upright position, like that. So let's turn it on and see how much flow we get. Well, there you go. That is a huge amount of flow. Let me go to the other side. There you go, look at that. This is a 4-foot tank, and the flow would, if it didn't have the other flow, go at least 3, maybe 3 and a bit feet. So over 90 centimeters definitely. And I'm going to orientate it in my favourite one, because you could use this in a very shallow tank. And for the price, I think it's great. I mean, it's a powered sponge filter really, but you do have the option of putting stuff like carbon in there. And when I went to the NEWA website, it did say they do different ones. So I'm going to give you a list of those as well at the end. So let me orientate it differently now. Okay, I'm impressed. I will give you that. I'm impressed. This is a very cheap filter. And look at the surface skimmer. It's sucking so much of the surface down and in. I do wonder actually how much the bottom part is actually sucking in. Let's have a look down here. This portion here. Let's have a look. See the holes here? I wonder how much that is actually sucking in. And that's how it looks in the tank, like that. Okay, but very good. It's all right. It's okay. Now, I'm going to bring the nozzle up so you can see how much flow there is. And then we can conclude what I do and don't like about it. Wow, what can I say? That's impressive. Look at this. Look at that. That is fantastic. Very impressed with that. Okay, so let me turn the filter off and then we'll talk about the pros and cons of this filter. Okay, pros and cons. Well, the first one, to be honest, having to take the head off every time to adjust this is a con for me. The fact that you can't put your own stuff in here, that's a con. And obviously this thing, I would have made that just bigger, but anyway, okay. The other bugbear is when you use this, it only sucks in through this from the actual filter, from the actual tank, and this all comes to the surface. So I would have probably put a few more in, but anyway, they probably tested for that, to be fair, okay. Also, you can only use this when it's vertical, which makes sense because it'd be sitting like that in the tank, or like that, you know, like the surface water, which makes sense to me. It has an extremely long cable on it, which is very good. The suckers, even though they're tiny, are very strong. I was quite surprised with them. And the main thing for me is the price. Now, this is another Italian company, the same as Sicki, they're Italian as well. But this has so many, this moves, you know, it does all these different things where Sicki, I had it for 2 months and it fell to pieces, okay? So Sicki need to be careful because this, all the plastics are solid, are just way ahead of it. And the thing I like about this as well is you've got little unions in there. So when you put that on there, you can have it out of your tank, you can have it over the side of the tank. It's even got a little cable tie there as well. You know, there's a lot of reasons to buy this, okay? I would say if you've got something like a Tetra starter kit, like a 105, and we all know that the filter that comes with it is quite poo, this would be your best bet. This is cheap enough to warrant going in any tank, even if you want to just put it into a huge tank as a secondary filter, just so you can see the new tank straight away. This would be perfect. I would have this as a backup all day long. That for me was perfect. I mean, the wattage is great. Guys, thanks for watching. I've got something else coming up later on. Take care.